Welcome to Bloomington Today. I'm Kaylin Cockrell. Thanks for joining us. This year has been an exciting one after several redevelopment projects around the city kicked off in 2011. From the Radisson Blu Hotel to the Penn American District, let's take a look back at some key projects and find out why redevelopments like these are extremely beneficial for Bloomington. Bloomington is a fully developed community, but redevelopment, which is when an existing site is repurposed for another use or building, is crucial in keeping businesses and neighborhoods healthy and stable.
2011 has been a very busy year for development in Bloomington. On the residential side, the city has issued building permits for 647 new units. That's the most in any single year since the 1980s. On the commercial side, we have several large projects. Radisson Blu Hotel, Polar Semiconductor, Normandale College is doing 2 separate additions, CVS, along with several other developments.
Bloomington South Loop District saw a lot of activity this year. The Radisson Blu Hotel broke ground in the city's South Loop District at the Mall of America. This 500-room, 13-story luxury hotel will be completed in March of 2013. The project brings 250 full-time construction jobs to the city and, when complete, more than 200 permanent hotel jobs, but also,
as the first hotel attached to the mall, it should attract a lot of visitors. So those visitors will shop in Bloomington, they'll dine in Bloomington, they'll generate lodging taxes in Bloomington.
Construction in the Penn American District is in full swing. The Genesee project began construction in June. When completed, the $45 million project will have 234 luxury rental units in 3 buildings and more than 14,000 square feet of retail office space.
The Genesee project really sets the tone for future redevelopment in the Penn American District. This is much more intense than past development. Buildings close to the street, pedestrian friendly.
The project is slated for completion in the summer of 2012. And in addition, another 282-unit luxury rental facility is being constructed on the city's northwest side, on the site of the former Seagate Technology, called Luxembourg.
We have seen a lot of additional upscale rental housing constructed, and the reason really is supply and demand. On the supply side, we've not had any upscale residential development in the city in the last 25 years. And then on the demand side, we're seeing a lot more 1-person and 2-person households. So these households are more likely to rent than a larger household is.
Luxembourg is expected to be completed sometime in 2013, and as the city's older population grows, the need for more senior housing was also addressed this year, as the construction of Founders Ridge Senior Housing nears its completion date of late spring. Founders Ridge offers a unique senior living experience, as there's literally something for everyone.
The interesting thing is it provides a continuum of care. So there are independent units, assisted units, memory care units. So as the needs change for a resident, they can stay in the same facility.
Mark Agard says projects like these will ultimately help the city thrive for years to come.
These developments will attract new residents to the city. They'll provide further housing choices in the city. They'll create jobs both during construction and in the long term. And then they'll also add to the citywide tax base, and they help the schools as well by adding new children in the schools.
The city's website is a great resource to learn about current and future development projects in the works for the city of Bloomington, so be sure to check that out. The ground may not be fully covered with snow just yet, but that doesn't mean the slopes at one Bloomington ski area are bare. Although Mother Nature may be slow this year in bringing snow to the slopes of Hyland ski and snowboard area naturally, snowmaker Tom Ager says where there's a will, there's a way, and each form of snow, man-made or natural, serves a purpose.
Weather can be ever-changing and fickle. We definitely can't rely on the weather. We need the cold temperatures. Once we have that, we can make the snow, but it's once we're open and have the base down, It's nice to have natural snow because that really gets the public fired up.
But how exactly does a snow gun work, you ask? Check this out.
In the snowmaking process, we have pump water from a pond that's cooled down to 35 degrees. The water's pumped through a hose into the gun, into each individual nozzle, where it sprays out in a fine mist at 400 psi. We also have an onboard air compressor that takes compressed air, and it's called the nucleator ring, and it takes a small amount of water and compressed air, and that nucleator shoots out into the plume of water, and it gives the water a small molecule or particle to freeze to, and that starts the freezing process. And so it starts freezing right out of the gun. The fan shoots the snow out, and it becomes snow when it hits the ground about 50 feet out from the gun.
Snow can only be made if it's 28 degrees or below outside, and as you saw, it uses a combination of air and water. But in moving past the science behind it, snowmaking can be a form of art. Just ask any snowmaker.
Art is, in itself, is being creative, and it's very subjective. It's different things to different people. To a snowmaker, the art of snowmaking may be getting a snow gun to blow through a narrow draw of trees without damaging the trees on either side and getting that snow to lay in there just how you wanted it. Or it could be a beautiful winter scene after you've been making snow all night. You get a beautiful sunrise coming up over the horizon. All the trees are dusted with a light coating of snow, and you get a picture postcard scene. Some snowmakers feel that's the art of snowmaking.
According to Egger, in many ways, man-made snow is actually more desirable for skiers than the real stuff.
If you took 10 inches of man-made snow and compressed it, took all the air out of it, you would have approximately about 7 inches of snow after it's compressed. And if you took natural snow, took 10 inches, compressed the air out of it, you'd only have 1 inch. Wow. So man-made snow is much more dense, and it's more durable, it'll last longer.
Hyland is now open and ready for skiers and snowboarders, and even with the early December snowfall, snowmakers are busy manufacturing the white stuff whenever the weather is right to give patrons the best possible outdoor experience. The men and women of the Bloomington Police Force have protected and served the community for decades, but what many people don't see is the relationship that can form between an officer and his police dog. Take a look at this story of loyalty and companionship.
My name is Mike Larson. I'm a canine officer with the City of Bloomington. My partner is Riggs, and he's an 18-month-old Belgian Malinois.
There is an unspoken bond between an officer and their police dog. They're trained to crawl through tight spaces, jump unmeasurable heights, detain suspects, releasing them only when commanded to do so, and ultimately protect their human law enforcement counterpart.
If something did happen, I know he's there that would be able to help me out whenever I need it, and just even the words canine on the door tend to keep people a little bit more in check.
Riggs is one of 19 other canine dogs that have worked with Bloomington's police department since 1987. The canines are trained regularly and assigned to handle all aspects of patrol work, but they're also specially trained to do other kinds of work.
So number one, they're a locating tool. You know, their primary responsibilities, the four that are on patrol, are to go out and find people. But they've also got the ability to go out and be dual-purpose dogs and search for narcotics.
When Riggs isn't training or hitting the streets on patrol duty with Officer Larson, we're told he's just like any other typical pet. He goes home with Officer Larson when their shift is over and switches into family mode. He loves to chew on rawhide bones, jump, and play.
When we're at work, Riggs is my partner. He's, my number one next to me, or number two, whatever you want to call it. But he's my partner. He's the one I rely on, I guess, the most when it comes to it. If I were to get in trouble on a stop or something, I'd rely on him right away to be there. And if we were out chasing after someone, if something were to happen to me, I know he'd jump right in and be there for me. At home, he's a pet at home. He's just like any other part of our family and gets to relax and run around and sleep and play and chew on bones and toys. And so, you know, there's obviously two different sides of that dog, and he's figuring out now in a short time here the differences between work and home life, and I think he's enjoying both of them so far.
Officer Larson and Riggs recently appeared on the city's police program, Roll Call. To view past episodes of Roll Call or this show, log on to the city's website and hit the YouTube logo for access to all city productions. If you've never been to the city's animal shelter, animal control employees encourage residents to come take a tour. We were on site as one local Girl Scout troop did just that. Take a look. Teaching children about animal safety and the proper way to care for pets is something Bloomington animal control officers feel very strongly about. That's why they encourage groups like this one, made up of 15 first-grade Girl Scouts and their families, to tour the city's animal shelter. It's here they get a chance to learn and ask questions. Young says that children are naturally drawn to animals, and without the proper knowledge of how to approach, care for, and play with animals, there can be some danger involved.
Naturally, kids are inquisitive of just about everything. Animals really pique their interest. With that, if we're able to catch them at an early age and teach both animal safety, Minnesota dangerous dog laws, the symbols to be looking for, along with spaying, neutering of animals and things like that, proper handling and anti-cruelty things, if you get them at a young age, they carry those lessons through life, and we have real good success with it.
The group made its way around the shelter, hearing stories and meeting the guests currently staying at the shelter. The troop's trip here wasn't just to tour. They wanted to give their version of holiday gifts to the animals at the shelter in the form of dog and cat food, kitty litter, and
the girls get together and they make blankets, which is what they're going to be donating today, and they're used for both kittens and puppies that come through the door that might not want to be on a cold floor. We use it for that purpose.
If you're interested in setting up a tour to come through the Bloomington Animal Shelter, contact Animal Control Officers at 952-563-4942. We love animals! On average, the shelter has more than 600 four-legged friends coming and going each year, many looking for forever homes. Sign up for the city's e-subscribe alerts to be notified when an animal is available for adoption. Now it's time for a short break. When we come back, we'll be joined by Paul Edwardson of Public Works to refresh residents' minds on what to do when it snows. Stay right here.
The American Legion honors our newest generation of warriors and veterans. Please join us in supporting and recognizing their unique contributions and needs. Go to legion.org/honor-veterans to find out more.
Welcome back to Bloomington Today. We are now joined by Paul Edwardson. Paul is the Assistant Maintenance Superintendent for the city. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Well, it has happened. Mother Nature has given us our first significant snowfall of the season, and while the city provides excellent snow removal services to residents, we'd like to know, I guess, how your day begins when there's snow on the ground.
Well, it has a little bit to do with when the snow actually falls. If we get accumulating snow during the late evening and early morning, 10, 11 o'clock, midnight and after, we may come in, we may call our crews in as early as 1 or 2 or 3 a.m. And the whole goal at that point is to try to get the roads in Bloomington opened up so that when we get to that 6 a.m., 7 a.m., 8 a.m., when people need to get out and get to work and get to their places of employment, those things, that they can safely and easily do that. So our day can begin quite early sometimes.
Okay. Well, there are some things that residents can do to allow plow operators to more efficiently and safely go about their routes. Why don't you first off start by telling us a bit about fire hydrants, mailboxes, and garbage cans?
Yeah, those are 3 things that we have to deal with all the time. We have over 500 cul-de-sacs throughout the city and many lane miles with homes and businesses on them. And it's a real challenge, especially like last year when we had a lot of snow, to try to keep all those things open. Fire hydrants, certainly from an emergency standpoint, we try to do as much as we can to not put snow on or over fire hydrants, but we do need residents sometimes to help us out, clearing a fire hydrant in their area, because it certainly benefits them if there would be an emergency. Mailboxes, we try to get as close as we can to mailboxes, and unfortunately sometimes we get a little too close and a mailbox ends up in the snowbank, and we certainly want to try to avoid that. But again, if there's a lot of snow, sometimes we need residents to help keep mailboxes clean right up to the curb. We do the best that we can without trying to remove mailboxes themselves. And trash cans, that can get to be a very difficult one, more so for sidewalk snow removal than streets. When it's garbage day, there can be literally hundreds of garbage cans out anywhere in the city. And we would ask that people don't place them in the sidewalk area or in the street area for that matter, because we'll be coming down the streets with the large plows, and we can't be stopping or moving around garbage cans all the time. And our street snow removal crew, they can't be getting out of units and removing and moving garbage cans at every location. So we would ask for help from the public to help us be able to do our job just a little bit more efficiently.
Absolutely. I can imagine how much that would slow down the route, getting out every, couple of houses and moving a garbage can or a recycling bin.
Yeah, it's really difficult, and our guys certainly try to do the best that they can and try to steer around when they can, but sometimes they just can't, and they have to get out and move it, and that just slows down the entire process of us trying to get to the end of the snow removal operation.
Okay. Well, Bloomington Police issue a no parking ban on city streets when there is a snow emergency. First off, why don't you tell us what constitutes a snow emergency?
Well, there are two things that really could drive a snow emergency. First of all, if we're watching the weather, certainly if there's predicted snow and or snow coming down, and if we know early enough and there's enough snow on the ground, we will declare a snow emergency. In other words, we'll declare it, and it'll be on the radio, it'll be on the TV and other outlets. Actually, if there's 3 inches or more of snow on the ground, that is an automatic snow emergency, and the city doesn't even have to declare it. So what that means is once there's 3 or more inches of snow on the ground, people need to get vehicles off the street till the street is plowed full width.
Okay. How can residents learn if there is in fact a snow emergency? I know you said if there's more than 3 inches, that's not the city's call at that point. It's just,
It's
given.
Automatic.
Okay. How can residents learn if there is a snow emergency? What resources are available for residents to check out?
Well, there's certainly, as I mentioned, when we declare a snow emergency, there's the radio and TV. Just listening and watching radio and TV, the snow amounts, they announce that. If we're in a snowstorm, they will announce that. And once we've gotten to that 3 inch or more ceiling, then our snow emergency is in place, and people's vehicles that are in street are subject to tagging and towing. We certainly have social media outlets with the city, e-subscribe. There are a lot of other places, I guess.
Facebook and Twitter.
Yes.
We'll be getting that stuff posted when a snow emergency is declared as well. So lots of resources for residents to use there. And switching gears a little bit to the safety of children that are outside playing, whether it's during the snowstorm or after a snowfall. If you're a Minnesota child, you are building snow forts and things, tunneling even, but that can be dangerous. Talk a bit about that.
I think all of us, as we grew up, we probably did some of that. And in today's world, with all the large equipment and the need to keep the roads clear as we can, both for just our general use and for emergency vehicles, especially like last year, we had to push back large banks on streets and in cul-de-sacs. And if children are playing in those large banks, if they've tunneled into those, we certainly want to avoid causing any injuries or anything like that, but we can't see, we don't know if that's the case. So we would ask people to, if they're going to do that, they need to get some snow in their yard and maybe build a big mound in their yard rather than out in that right-of-way area where we plow the snow, because our equipment will come through and sometimes we will use large equipment to push those banks back.
Okay. Well, residents, it's always nice when your neighbor gets their driveway cleared real fast, but being quick with the shovel, their snowplow isn't always the best thing to do. Why is it important to maybe wait a minute?
Well, we've got a large city, and obviously somebody is going to be first in snow removal and somebody is going to be last, and we try to aim for an 8 to 12 hour time frame to complete all of our snow plowing. Of course, less snow is going to be a little quicker, more snow will take a little longer, but we understand that people contract out to have driveways plowed, or they get out early themselves and snow blow it. And if the cul-de-sac and or the street haven't been plowed yet, unfortunately, we're going to put some snow back at the end of the driveway. So people just have to be aware of that and know that they may need to go out a second time and do some clearing based on the fact that we've come through after their snow removal has been completed.
Yeah. So you're not trying to plow anyone in, but you got to get about your routes.
It just happens sometimes.
Yeah. We'd like to thank Paul Edwardson for being here with us today. And again, for details on snow emergencies, you have 3 definite resources: eSubscribe, Facebook, and Twitter. If you're ever curious to know if the city is in a snow emergency, check out any of those resources. It's now time for a short break. We'll be right back.
Sooner or later, it's going to hit you that you have to save for your retirement. Do you know how much you'll need? It's easy to figure out. The choice is clear. For a happy ending, choose to save.
Welcome back to Bloomington Today. Recently, one Bloomington resident was presented an award for outstanding community service at the 2011 Legacy Award. Alice Seagren graciously accepted the 14th Annual Legacy Award to a standing ovation on November 10th. This recognition stems from her outstanding work with several community foundations, Minnesota legislative system, and the children's education system.
The thing that I really feel is important is the legacy that you leave behind in your family and in your friends, and the way you touch people's lives, because that's where kind of the value of a legacy really lives on. And that's what's so wonderful, even about this foundation, that you are trying to also establish a legacy in our community that will live on for people that will come after us, after we're gone.
The Legacy Award, presented by the Bloomington Community Foundation, presents this award annually to an outstanding Bloomington citizen who demonstrates community leadership, high ethical standards, and ongoing support for community projects. Congratulations to Alice Seagren for her achievements and community leadership throughout the years. Bloomington Public Health continues to take a proactive approach to youth drug and alcohol use through education and early detection. On November 29th, parents, youth workers, and teachers attended A Night to Know the Truth. Is your child on drugs or alcohol? An event sponsored by the Minnesota Teen Challenge.
The issue of addiction is widespread among the state, and as you know, addiction doesn't discriminate. It doesn't matter what city you live in, how much money you have, what color your skin is, what kind of car you drive, things like that.
It was here attendees learned what signs to look for in teens using drugs and alcohol, and how this destructive behavior can be prevented. People also learned what teens can use to get high, including household items that should be kept out of the home. Former teenage drug users were also on hand to share their secrets and techniques for hiding their addiction. Victoria's addiction started at just the age of 12.
My friend just said, I hate taking my pills, you want to try one? I was like, sure. What can a little pill harm me? Well, it harmed me a lot. I quickly became addicted to it, taking it every day. By the time I was 16, I was so involved with this lifestyle of just doing drugs, going to parties, being the cool party girl. I thought it was so fun, and I would just try anything. I tried things from heroin to LSD to just, things you can find in the cupboard, like cough medicine and aerosol cans, huffing.
To view this event in its entirety, check out www.tbc14.org for program listings in the coming weeks. On a past episode of Bloomington Today, we brought you the exciting news after Bloomington Public Works crews were honored with the Environmental Stewardship Award. At the December 5th City Council meeting, a representative from the American Public Works Association presented the award to council members and public works staff. The APWA gives this award annually to groups or organizations that exhibit a passion for conserving and protecting the environment.
We give it to folks who can show they're benefiting the whole community by their effort, and that in addition to sustaining the environment, they are making an effort to address public works values like cost effectiveness and considering operations and maintenance as a part of the environmental efforts.
Some of the many environmentally friendly implementations that have helped win Bloomington Public Works this award include the recent prairie restoration on the grounds of Civic Plaza and Public Works, and the new pervious pavement in the Public Works parking lot. And a quick reminder, Monday, December 12th will be the last day to donate toys and gift cards to volunteers enlisted to assist people, or VEEP's Holiday Gift Store. There are holiday gift collection sites all over Bloomington, Edina, and Richfield. Simply stop by and drop your toy or donation into the bin. In Bloomington, you can find a bin at Civic Plaza, Creekside, Community Center, and Public Works, among other places. For a complete list of collection locations, visit VEEP's website at www.veepvolunteers.org. And that's all the time we have for today. To get more information on city projects, parks, road construction, and events, visit the city's website. To check out past episodes of Bloomington Today or other city productions, visit Bloomington's YouTube channel, accessible right from the city's homepage. That and so much more is online right now at www.ci.bloomington.mn.us. If Facebook or Twitter isn't your thing, sign up for eSubscribe to have updates sent right to your email or cell phone. This is Bloomington Today, a presentation of the City of Bloomington's Communications Division. I'm Kaylin Cockerill. Thanks so much for joining us.